Welcome back. It's time for the Roundtable, and this was a busy week in business news. So here to break it down for us, two of our favorite in-the-know experts, Robert McCartney of the Washington Post and Doug Fruehling, editor-in-chief of the Washington Business Journal. Gentlemen, welcome back to you both. Bob McCartney, I got to start with you because there's an important deadline on Monday that's now not so much of a deadline, but there's a lot of bickering over it. The Maryland budget, you've been writing about it, you've been talking to business leaders about it. You say Larry Hogan has already been a change agent. How so?
Oh, absolutely. Well, he's completely changed the whole framework for the debate in Annapolis about spending and taxes. I mean, there's no discussion this year at all about raising taxes, and he's putting pressure on the Democratic-led legislature to reduce taxes. I don't know how much success he's going to have. Even if he succeeds on everything that's now on the table, they're going to be really small tax increases affecting just a few people. But he would get bragging rights and could say that he really made a difference in Annapolis.
You say it's a discussion that we haven't had for a very long time, but you say his tactics are different than Bob Ehrlich when he tried to push through a similar agenda. You say he is trying to be more bipartisan, and he needs to be.
He was initially, and for most of the session, he's really been reaching out to people. There have been flashes of sort of petulance and boastfulness that have irritated the Democrats, but usually he's been trying to reach out and build bridges and not basically just get in squabbles the way Ehrlich did when he was governor.
But now
things have really gotten worse just in the last few days as we approach the end game, and the Hogan and the leaders of the General Assembly are really jockeying for position over what the budget's going to look like in the end, and also over school policy, especially charters and a possible tax break or actually a grant for corporations that donate to private, including religious schools.
So what do you think the chances are of actually getting any kind of significant tax cuts in Maryland in this budget?
Significant tax cuts, no chance. I mean, the Democrats won't go along with that. The real question is whether you can get something that can at least allow Hogan to save some face, and the Democrats are looking for restoring as much money as they can for schools. And now there's also a big new debate over whether or not to cut the contribution, the annual contribution to the pension fund. The Democrats want to cut that contribution in order to free up money for schools and other priorities, and Hogan doesn't want to do that.
It's going to be a fascinating debate to watch because he promised to improve the schools in Maryland even beyond where they are now, and now he's holding school funding hostage. So it's getting contentious, and it's going to be interesting to watch. If they don't pass the budget on Monday, they probably will get a 10-day extension, so stay tuned. Doug, I want to talk to you because you've been writing about something that was not contentious this past week, and that is the legacy of Jim Clark, the CEO who took over at a small construction company and grew it into one of the biggest in the world. He built FedEx Field, he built National Stadium.
He built everything.
My friend Tom Chickatello, who worked for Mr. Clark, said he gets the most reviews for putting the Dunkin' Donuts in the Bethesda Metro Station that was a Clark construction project. But he also gave so much back to the community. He was a self-made billionaire, but he didn't like a lot of media attention.
He did not. He was notoriously press shy. When I interviewed him in 2006, he boasted that it was only the 4th interview in his career, and I believe it was the last interview in his career.
I certainly never got one, even though I admired him greatly. You know, there are so many things that he's contributed. He built the Clark School of Engineering at University of Maryland. What do you think his biggest legacy is going to be?
Well, it's a toss-up. The biggest legacy, I think, is his impact on Washington, D.C.'s built environment. As you mentioned, everything his company has built, the blue Clark construction signs are everywhere.
And around the country now.
Around the country, but mostly they did every project that you could want to build in Washington. He used to say, if it's in our backyard, we want it. We want to build it. But he was also a great philanthropist. Many of the great developers in this city are. He gave to a lot of causes, but he gave very quietly. Other than University of Maryland, he gave very quietly, which is part of his legacy.
And the company's still giving generously, and we hope continue to. Okay, one contentious issue, and you've got 15 seconds to sum it up, but people can read what you've been writing. WMATA, still a search. What's going on?
Well, there's basically a division of opinion among the jurisdictions over what kind of general manager the Metro Transit system should get.
We've talked to the mayor. What do you want to see?
What do I personally want to see? I want to see everybody come together and agree on somebody who can fix both safety and finances, and they can all support increased funding to expand the system in the long run.
I agree. We'll be right back.